Time is precisely 6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Anjana Dudamgoda and read by Rumesh Pires. The headlines. The President to convene meeting with opposition party leaders and IMF delegates on Monday. The head of state says Sri Lankan women make significant strides in country's economy. Sri Lankan family murdered in Ottawa identified, teen suspect arrested. Veteran actress, journalist and former SLBC news presenter Ramya Wanigasekara passes away. 3 tons of plastic bottles collected in Sri Pada within 3 months. The vehicular movement on Gaul Road disrupted in Vellavatta. In foreign news, US to set up temporary port on Gaza coast for aid delivery. In sports, Oli Niluka Karnaratna Foundation launched to help athletes. Now the local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has convened a meeting on Monday with the leaders of accepted opposition parties in Parliament and the visiting high-level delegation of the International Monetary Fund. During the meeting, the opposition party leaders will be offered the chance to discuss the IMF's proposals with the delegates. In a proactive move, Leader of the Opposition Sajith Premadasa, Leader of the National People's Power Anura Kumara Disanayaka and Tamil National Alliance Leader S. Sridharan have been invited to participate in these deliberations. The meeting is slated to be held at the Presidential Secretariat with an open invitation extended to interested individuals to join alongside the invited leaders. 6 people, including a mother, her 4 young children and a family acquaintance, were killed inside a townhouse in the South Ottawa suburb of Barhaven late Wednesday night. During a media briefing Thursday afternoon, Ottawa Police Chief Eric Stubbs said there were initially 2 calls to 911 around 10:52 p.m. on the same day. He said first responders arrived within minutes to the home on Berrigan Drive near Palmadio Drive, a residential area close to 2 schools. Police have identified 5 of the victims as a family of newcomers to Canada from Sri Lanka. Fabio de Souza, aged 19, is charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Police said he is a Sri Lankan national who is believed to be in Canada as a student. Veteran actress, journalist and former SLBC news presenter Ramya Wanigasekara passed away early this morning. The veteran media personality was 73 years of age at the time of her demise. In 1980, Wanigasekara began her career as a radio host with Radio Ceylon and was a regular news anchor until her retirement in 2006. She later joined Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation on a contract basis where she worked as a relief newscaster. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
Continuing with more local news. Muskelia Pradeshiya Sabha announced that 3 tons of plastic bottles discarded by pilgrims visiting Sri Pada have been collected within 3 months since the beginning of the Sri Pada season this year. Secretary of the Muskelia Pradeshiya Sabha said that the garbage bins have been installed to dispose of plastic water bottles carried by pilgrims travelling along that route. Furthermore, he said some pilgrims just throw plastic water bottles into the environment without putting them into assigned bins. The plastic water bottles discarded by Sri Pada pilgrims were taken to the garbage recycling centre in Nalatanya, from where it will be sold to the private sector, the secretary said. Meanwhile, the current extremely dry weather condition has caused a drinking water problem in the Nalatanya area. Discussions are underway with the Water Supply Board to solve this issue, according to the secretary. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara announced that the revised Electricity Act has been sent to the Legal Draftsman's Department for review. He anticipates the bill will be presented to Parliament for approval in April, following Cabinet endorsement. Additionally, the Minister expressed readiness to engage stakeholders to discuss reducing fuel prices further through a transparent pricing formula. And that concludes local news.
Right decisions with noble intentions bring pride to you and the nation. At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story. President Ranil Wickremesinghe stated in his International Women's Day message that Sri Lankan women are making significant strides in the nation's economy today, leveraging their expertise, skills and professionalism to exceed conventional boundaries. The President further said the government is actively engaged in amplifying the role of women in propelling sustainable development forward. Special focus is directed towards empowering women entrepreneurs in burgeoning sectors such as digital and green economies. Head of State further expressed his views and noted that the government's commitment to Women's Day extends beyond mere symbolism, as evidenced by comprehensive measures aimed at safeguarding the dignity and safety of women. These initiatives include the formulation of new policies and regulations, including a groundbreaking national gender policy designed to combat discrimination against women. And that came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
And in Watchlight this evening, a small sinkhole near the station road in Vallavatta has disrupted vehicular movement on Gaul Road. Accordingly, traffic towards Colombo has been restricted. The police have advised the motorists travelling to Colombo to use the Marine Drive for the time being. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
And moving on to the bulletin of world news, first the headlines. US to set up temporary port on Gaza coast for aid delivery. At least 287 school children kidnapped by armed gunmen in northwest Nigeria. US Embassy warns of imminent attack in Moscow by extremists. Now the world news in detail. The US military will construct a port in Gaza to get more humanitarian aid into the territory by sea, President Joe Biden has announced. The temporary port will increase the amount of humanitarian assistance to Palestinians by hundreds of additional truckloads per day, officials say. However, President Biden said the initiative will not include US troops on the ground in Gaza. The UN warns that a quarter of the population is on the brink of famine. The President made the official announcement during his State of the Union address on Thursday. He said the port, which will be built by the US military, will involve a temporary pier to transport supplies from ships at sea to the shore. It is not clear who will build the causeway or secure the aid on land, meaning crucial questions about whether the operation can succeed remain unanswered. At least 287 school children, some are as young as 8 years old, are being held by gunmen who raided their school in Nigeria's northeastern Kaduna state early yesterday, according to foreign media. More than 300 students were taken early Thursday by the armed bandits on motorcycles who stormed the LEA primary and secondary school in the Kuriga village of Kaduna's Chikun district, the state's police spokesman Mansoor Hassan said. Some of the students were rescued, but 287 of them remain with the kidnappers. The US Embassy in Russia warned that extremists had imminent plans for an attack in Moscow, hours after Russian security services said they had foiled a planned shooting at a synagogue by a cell from the Afghan arm of Islamic State. The embassy, which has repeatedly urged all US citizens to leave Russia immediately, gave no further details about the nature of the threat, but said people should avoid concerts and crowds and be aware of their surroundings. Back to the headlines of the world news. US to set up temporary port on Gaza coast for aid delivery. At least 287 school children kidnapped by armed gunmen in northwest Nigeria. And US Embassy warns of imminent attack in Moscow by extremists. And that was World News.
Development News.
And in development news, Sri Lanka had received 6 proposals for the construction of nuclear plants. Professor S.R.D. Rosa, Chairman, Sri Lanka Atomic Energy Board, said during a recent seminar organized by the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka on the potential of nuclear energy and its challenges in Sri Lanka. He said Russia's Rosatom, China's China National Nuclear Corporation, France's Electricité de France, and Denmark's Seaborg have submitted proposals. He further noted Ultra-Safe Nuclear Corporation of the US and Canada's Atomic Energy of Canada Limited have expressed willingness. And that was Development News.
Moving on with sports news.
In sports, three-time Sri Lankan Olympian Niluka Karnaratne has launched the Oli Niluka Karnaratne Foundation to support athletes locally and internationally, aiming to enhance the quality of sport through athlete assistance programs. As an initial gesture of support, the foundation provided its first grant to Oli Yupun Abikun, who is striving to qualify for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. The launch event also saw Olympian Niluka Karnaratne bidding farewell to his illustrious career. And that came to you in sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news this evening, in a groundbreaking initiative that marks a significant stride towards community development and sustainable mobility, Premier Mobile Service provider Hutch Sri Lanka has once again demonstrated its commitment to corporate social responsibility and sustainability. In alignment with the company's focused efforts on positively impact in children and the education sector, Hutch has taken a commendable step by distributing 130 electric bicycles or e-bikes through an exclusive partnership with the Ministry of Education to rural schools and their staff across Sri Lanka. And that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
In economic news, the Labour and Foreign Employment Ministry said expatriate workers sent a total of $476.4 million to the country in February, marking a 14% increase compared to the same month last year. They said during the past period, an amount of $9,691.4 million has been sent to this country. The Labour and Foreign Employment Ministry says that there has been a good response to the requests to expatriate workers to send money to the country through legal systems. And that was economic news.
Weather Report.
And finally, we move on to the weather report. Showers or thunder showers may occur at few places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts in the evening or at night. Mainly dry weather will prevail in the other areas of the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts during the morning. And that was the weather report. Now to conclude this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The President to convene meeting with opposition party leaders and IMF delegates on Monday. The head of state says Sri Lankan women makes significant strides in country's economy. Sri Lankan family murdered in Ottawa, identified, teen suspect arrested. Veteran actress, journalist and former SLBC news presenter Ramya Wanikasekara passes away. 3 tons of plastic bottles collected in Sripada within 3 months. The vehicular movement on Galle Road disrupted in Vellavatta. In foreign news, US to set up temporary port on Gaza coast for aid delivery. And finally in sports, Oli Niluka Karnaratne Foundation launch to help athletes. And with that we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Back to your Friday evening's regular hostess, Saunthi Thalam, to keep you company till end of transmission. Over to you, Saunthi.